Questions 1 through 10 on the 2013 Grade 10 AMC 10B. What is this minus that? So the first one is 2 plus 4 plus 6 over 1 plus 3 plus 5. And you're subtracting from that 1 plus 3 plus 5 over 2 plus 4 plus 6. The numerator in the first one is 12. The denominator in the first one is 9. The numerator in the second one is 9. The denominator in the second one is 12. So this is 12 over 9 minus 9 over 12. In lowest terms, it will be 4 over 3 minus 3 over 4. You get a common denominator, 4, 4, 3, 3. And you get 16 minus 9 over 12, and that is 7 over 12. Number 1, the answer is C. Mr. Green measures his rectangular garden by walking 2 of the sides and finds that it is 15 steps by 20 steps. Each of Mr. Green's steps is 2 feet long. Mr. Green expects half a pound of potatoes per square foot from his garden. How many pounds of potatoes does Mr. Green expect from his garden? We have some rectangular field, and it's 15 by 20 in terms of steps. But each step is 2 feet long, so 20 steps really is 40 feet. And similarly, 15 steps is 30 feet. So therefore, the total area of this rectangular garden is 30 feet by 40 feet, and that's 1200 square feet. Half a pound of potatoes is produced by 1 square foot of his garden. So 1200 times half would give me how much potatoes? And that's 600. So number 2, the answer is A. On a particular January day, the high temperature in Lincoln, Nebraska was 16 degrees higher than the low temperature, and the average of the high and low temperatures was 3. In degrees, what was the low temperature in Lincoln that day? Lincoln, Nebraska is very interesting because it's one of the few capital cities in the United States that's named after a president. Abraham Lincoln, as I'm sure you've heard, was the president of the United States in the past. There's a few other cities that are named after presidents, in particular capitals. Jackson, Mississippi, and Madison, Wisconsin. So I just wanted to mention that. Lincoln, Nebraska, Jackson, Mississippi, and Madison, Wisconsin. I have been to Lincoln. Madison, I think I've been once. Jackson, I have not been to. All right, moving forward with this question. So we have a high and we have a low. The low, I don't know, but the high is the low plus 16, according to the question. And then they also tell me that the high and the low, if you add them, take an average, it's equal to 3. So from this equation, h plus L is 6. And then h is actually equivalent to L plus 16. So let's substitute that in. And when you do, you get an equation of 2L is equal to minus 10, and therefore L is minus 5. So number 3, the low, is minus 5 degrees, and that would be choice C. When counting from 3 to 21, 53 is the 51st number counted. When counting backwards from 101 to 3, 53 is the nth number counted. What is n? Well, you just have to sort of think about this. If you're going 201 to 200 and 199 and so on, right? 198. And then eventually you're going to reach ... You're going to eventually reach 53. And they're saying, what is that in terms of the number counted? Well, this is the first number, or this is the second number, third number, fourth number, and so on, right? Well, there's several ways you can do this. The way I did it, it's very simple, is you're counting from 202, right? You're really counting from 201, but 202 is where it sort of began after. It began after 202. So all you have to do to get this number is just subtract this number from 202. So for example, if I said 201 is what? Well, it's 202 minus 201. It's the first number. If I said 198 is which number in terms of accounting? Well, 202 minus 198, which is 4, and that's what it is. It's the fourth number. So if I said 53, again, take 202 minus 53, and when you do, you get 149. So it's the 149th number if you're counting backwards like that. So number 4, the answer is D. Positive integers a and b are each less than 6. What is the smallest possible value for 2 times a minus 8 times b? 2 times a minus a times b. Well, let's factor out the a, and when I do, I get 2 minus b. So this is what I have to minimize. I want to make this the smallest possible. Okay, well, we are told some parameters. A is less than 6, b is also less than 6. So we just have to kind of plug away and, see how this behaves. Make a little table. We got a, b, and the thing that we're trying to minimize, which is a times 2 minus b. All right, well, where would you like to start? We want to minimize this, right? So if you want to minimize this, we have to maximize that b value. Okay, so I hope that made sense. If you want to minimize this expression, we want to maximize the b, because the bigger b is, the smaller this will be, right? You're going to go backwards on the number line. Okay, well, what's the maximum b can possibly be? If b is less than 6, it's an integer. It can be 5. All right. So if it's 5, what value do I put for a, though? I want to minimize it. Okay, so let's put the minimum, which is 1. It's a positive integer. And let's figure out what is a minus times 2 minus b. That would be 1 times 2 minus 5, and that is negative 3. Okay, let's try a equals 2. It becomes 2 times minus 3, which is minus 6. Okay, we're actually getting smaller. 3 would give me 3 times negative 3, which is minus 9. 4 would give me 4 times negative 3, which is minus 12. And 5 for a would give me 5 times negative 3, which is minus 15. And that's the lowest I can possibly go. And any other combination of a or b will not give you a value less than negative 15 for that expression, keeping within these parameters. So number 5, the answer is B. The average age of 33 fifth graders is 11. The average age of 55 of their parents is 33. What is the average age of all of these parents and fifth graders? I was surprised to find out a few years ago that using the word these is politically incorrect, because I remember one time I was at work and I said these people. That was what I said. Those are the exact words I used. And I was talking about something and I said these people something something. And my colleague got upset. He was offended that I used 2 English words used together. So based on that, this question is politically incorrect because we're using the term these parents. Anyhow, so moving along with this question, the answer would be 33 times 11 for those ages. Then it would be 55 times 33 for the ages of these parents. And then, of course, you would divide by the total number, which is 33 fifth graders plus 55 parents. And if you do this math, you get 363 plus 1815 and divided by 88. And this is 2178 divided by 88, and that is equal to 24.75. And therefore, number 6, the answer is C. Six points are equally spaced around a circle of radius 1. 3 of these points are the vertices of a triangle that is neither equilateral nor isosceles. What is the area of this triangle? Well, here's a circle, and I've got to put 6 points equally spaced. So put one here, one here, one here, here, and these 2, approximately, right? And then 3 of these points are chosen so that you make a triangle, but the triangle cannot be equilateral or isosceles. All right, so we got to figure out how to do that. And I think we can do that if I choose those 2 and this guy, like that. If I do that, the triangle will not be isosceles, and it will also not be equilateral. Well, some of you may remember that if you draw a diameter like this, which is obviously what I've done, and then you draw a triangle that fits exactly within that half circle, semicircle, that will be 90 degrees. And I'm sure some of you remember that. Well, they told me the radius is 1, so that means the diameter is 2. All right, well, what do I have to do to figure out the area? Oh, okay, well, I don't know this guy or this guy, but I have to somehow figure out how to do that. Well, the fact that the 6 points are equally spaced is going to help us. If I draw a line from the center of this circle to that point, we'll be able to figure out an angle. Remember, they're equally spaced, so from there to there is equal to there, and is equal to there to there. So that means, since this whole thing from there to there is 180, each of those segments is 60. So this from there to there has got to be 60 degrees. That's what allows it to be equally spaced, correct? Now, this is a radius, and that is a radius. So that means these two angles are the same. Now, if that is 60, then those two add up to 120, and each of those is 60. So this is 60 degrees, this is 60 degrees, and therefore that triangle that I just drew is equilateral. So that's 1, and therefore that is 1. That's important, this side. And now to figure out this side, some of you can do that in your head, or I'll just use Pythagoras. So b squared plus 1 squared is 2 squared, and therefore b squared is 4 minus 1, which is 3, and therefore b is root 3. And therefore the area of that triangle will be 1/2 base, which is b, times height, which I can use that side, which is 1. And therefore b is root 3, so it's 1/2 times root 3 times 1, and therefore that is root 3 over 2. So number 7, the answer is B. Ray's car averages 40 miles per gallon of gasoline, and Tom's car averages 10 miles per gallon of gasoline. Ray and Tom each drive the same number of miles. What is the car's combined rate of miles per gallon of gasoline? Well, we have 40 miles per the gallon for Ray, and I'll just call that x over y in terms of what we have to figure out. And then who's the other guy? Tom is 10 miles per gallon, and I'll call his x over z. Now the reason I used x is because each of them drive the same number of miles. That's why both of them are driving x number of miles. But the gas that they use differs. That's why I use different letters for the gas, y and z. All right, so let's manipulate these equations. From this one, we get that x is equal to 40y. And from this one, we get x is equal to 10z. Now, what is it that they're trying to figure out? The car's combined rate of miles per gasoline. So we have to add up the total number of miles. Ray drives x, Tom drives x, and then we have to divide by the total number of gas they used. Well, for Ray, he used y, so y is actually x over 40. And for Tom, he used z amount of gas, which is x over 10. So the amount of gas goes in the denominator, so that's going to be x over 40 plus x over 10. So this is our total miles per gallon, average, or combined, whatever word you want to use. So that's going to be 2x over top and bottom by 4 to get a common denominator, so that's going to be 5x over 40. And this looks like 2x over 1, invert and multiply, 40 over 5x. The x's cancel, and all you're left with is 80 over 5, and that is 16. And therefore, number 8, the answer is B. 3 positive integers are greater than 1, have a product of 27,000, and are pairwise relatively prime. What is the sum of these integers? We have 3 integers, a, b, and c, and when you multiply them all together, you get 27000. and they want you to figure out what is A plus B plus C. The first step to this question is to break up this number into its prime factors, and when you do, you get 2 to the power of 3 times 3 to the power of 3 times 5 to the power of 3. And that is A times B times C. So since each of these numbers is relatively prime to any of the other ones, that means this guy has got to be A, or it doesn't really matter, but one combination is that's A, that's B, and that's C. So that means A is 8, B is 27, and C is 125. So therefore, A plus B plus C is 8 plus 27 plus 125, and that is 160. So number 9, the answer is D. A basketball team's players were successful on 50 of their 2-point shots and 40% of their 3-point shots, which resulted in 54 points. They attempted 50% more 2-point shots than 3-point shots. How many 3-point shots did they attempt? 2 points, 3 points. So they're successful on 50%. Let's say they attempted X 2-point shots. Let's say they attempted Y 3-point shots, and they were successful on 40%. So the score would therefore be 0.5 times X times 2 points plus 0.4 times Y times 3 points. And they're telling you that's equal to 54. But they also told me this very important piece of information, that they attempted 50% more 2-point shots than 3-point shots. Mathematically, and what that means is X is equal to 1.5y. So substitute that in, and this will be 1.5y because 0.5 times 2 is just 1, and this becomes 1.2y is equal to 54. So adding together, you get 2.7y is equal to 54, and dividing through, you get y is equal to 20. Y represents the number of 3-point shots, and therefore the number of 3-point shots is 20. Number 10, therefore, is C.